Look, here's the truth. Morning routines are very important. They determine whether we have a good day or whether we have a bad day. But while morning routines are, a big topic for self-improvement, especially, for footballers, there's a lot of different strategies and routines and habits floating around there. And it can be confusing often to figure out which habits, are going to be best for us. So, there's a lot of habits out there, such as waking up at 5 a.m., cold showers, go to the gym first thing in the morning, no cell phone use, off social media, ice bath, meditate, right? There are a lot of different ideas and concepts for morning routines out there right now, all over YouTube, Instagram. The truth is, most of it's bullshit, sort of. Let me explain. The reason why morning routines are so trendy online is because they generate lots of views for content creators and gurus to help them sell digital products, right? So if you look at not just in football, but in self-help, business, but sometimes even in football as well, all these creators follow the same formula with the end goal of selling you a product. So to break this down into further detail, often these creators and gurus, they start off by formulating a message in the form of a video talking about this morning routine. They push that video, and because morning routines is a trending concept, they garner a lot of views. They take those views, they take those followers, they get people interested, all right. Because these gurus understand that people out here want to improve their mornings, to improve their days, they use the concept of a morning routine. They build a whole video around it to sell a product that could, quote unquote, help them. Sometimes the products are legit, sometimes they're not. So they formulate the morning routine video. They push this morning routine concept out there. Why? Trendy, gets a lot of views. They take those views to get people interested, right, in them and in their video and what they have to say. Once they get people interested in their personal brand, they start pushing out their digital products. Usually it could be courses, it could be physical products. There's a whole crap ton of things that various creators and gurus are selling, both in football and outside of football, right? So they make the video, they get a bunch of views and a bunch of followers from it. With those new followers, they push digital products, and thus the more eyeballs they get, the more money they make off their digital product. And because morning routine videos are trending, it's a very easy way to get a lot of views and sell products. To simply, put in simple words, many of the morning routine videos you see are simply VSLs to sell you products. VSLs are a abbreviation for video sales letters. The point isn't necessarily to teach you about the perfect morning routine. It's to get you hooked onto their content, onto their video, to sell you a product that may or may not even be related to a morning routine. Now, does that mean all morning routines in videos are bullshit? No. Only that many of these videos online offer generic value because the intention isn't to give you an effective morning routine for you, but rather to sell you products from their sponsors and affiliates. An effective morning routine should be a simple series of habits that make you feel good and set you up to best optimize your day for success. So whether you're a footballer or you're doing something else, the morning routines do set up your day for success. They are important in that regard. And in this video, we're going to tie it all, around football, how to improve our football careers. So no morning routine is one size fits all. There's no morning routine out here or morning routine video that is, this concept where this is the perfect routine for everyone and everyone needs to follow it. That doesn't exist, right? Because the truth is, we all need good habits specific to our goals, and we need to get rid of bad habits that we struggle with personally, right? This is, if you could break down what a morning routine should be, this is the basic concept. In our mornings, we put in good habits to set our day up for success, and we cut out bad habits that pull us down from achieving what we want to achieve in the day, right? So, right off the top, reading, eating healthy, going to the gym in the morning are great habits. Being on your phone, sleeping in, eating junk food are bad habits for your mornings. So a great book that I recommend is actually Atomic Habits by James Clear. Reason why I like this book, because this book goes into very fine detail on the power of habits and how to build good habits that elevate, our lives and help us achieve the things we want to achieve in our lives. But also teaches us how to cut out bad habits too that hold us back from what we wanted to achieve. The power of habits is a very important, especially for us footballers. Why? Because it's the small habits that separate professionals from the amateurs. So if you want to be a professional footballer and play in Europe and do all these big things in this sport, it's the little habits that are going to get you there and elevate your career. Because the differences between professional and amateur aren't all that much, and the differences are often in the minute details. One of these minute details often is the habits that the professional follows that the amateur does not. So if you want to learn more about the power of habits and how to formulate good habits, by all means, go read this book. It goes into far more detail. In this video, we're simply just going through an overview and how to apply the general concepts of this book to our football careers. Right? So now we're going to go into some good habits you should consider. And again, there is no perfect routine. I'm not here to sell you a product or give you the ultimate routine that all of you have to follow. All I'm doing is explaining briefly the power of habits in our mornings and some ideas of what could be good habits for you to consider and potentially adopt to fit your morning routine and fit your needs in your career. But one thing I do recommend is actually starting with your night routine, because often quality sleep directly influences your morning. Good sleep leads to productive mornings and vice versa, right? Poor sleep is going to lead to bad mornings. If you want to improve sleep quality, we must apply good habits and remove bad habits from our nightly routine first. So instead of being on our phones late at night, read a book, right? Or just go to sleep, meditate. Instead of having a bunch of sugar and caffeine at night, opt for water. Instead of staying up until 1 in the morning, stay up and set yourself a bedtime for, 10 p.m., right? To maximize your amount of sleep you get and the sleep quality you have. A crucial habit to do every night is to plan out the next day. Plan out what tasks need to be done and what your goals are for tomorrow. Another great habit that you could do the night before to make the next day more efficient. And so when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to plan out your day. It's already been pre-planned. That way you can just go out and get after it. We establish our nightly routines to set up our morning routines. This is something that I believe in. A good morning starts with the night before. So if you want to maximize the amount of productivity you can have in your mornings, start with having a productive night. So now with night routines out of the way, let's get into some actual morning specific habits that you can consider. One is wake up at a time that works best for you. Really, there's no special wake up time. The truth is, there's just no champion's hour of waking up at 4 a.m. or 4:30, people like Jocko or Goggins talk about. It's works for them, great. But the reality is that doesn't really matter, especially for us footballers, because the truth is, when it comes to our sleep, in our bedtime and our wake up time, the most important thing in this whole equation is getting optimal sleep, right? Because our bedtime is important, wake up time is important, but if we don't get optimal sleep, it doesn't matter what time we go to bed or what time we wake up, 4:30, 5:30, it doesn't matter if we're not getting quality sleep. So the priority needs to be getting optimal sleep for optimal performance on and off the pitch for the next day. So 8 hours is average for best sleep quality for footballers to achieve optimal recovery. So this is the average. Most footballers are going to need about 8 hours of sleep to have optimal recovery. And that's a big concept that I want to hit home here is sleep is by far the best form of recovery you can have. So please do not chip out on your sleep. 8 hours, they said, is average, but figure out what amount of sleep you need that suits you. Some people, they only need 7.5 hours of sleep. Some people need 8. Some people need 8 hours and 30, right? Figure out what amount of sleep you need to feel the best in your mornings and throughout the day. So while the average is 8 hours, right? I personally strive for about 8 hours. For you, you might need less, you might need more. And that's up to you to determine what feels best for you. Habit number 2, when you wake up, don't immediately go reaching for your phone. I think this is a very important one to consider, if you want to be, the most productive in your mornings, if you want to maximize productivity in your mornings. Why? Because it's easy, especially when you have a phone addiction, to get distracted in the morning and waste valuable time that can be used for more productive activities. So instead of going on your phone in the mornings first thing, instead opt for, reading or meditating or exercise. So we want to be the most productive in our mornings to make us feel better throughout the day so we can go out and achieve our goals. Going on our phones in the morning, scrolling for an hour, isn't going to get us anywhere closer to achieving our goals. While those habits such as reading, exercise, meditation will. Your phone will simply drain your energy for the day, especially when you're using social media. Other habits like reading, exercise give you energy to start the day because you are then starting the day with a win. We feel great when we read a book or when we meditate, right? When we do something productive, we feel dopamine from that, much like how we feel dopamine from being on our phone. But it's a healthier dopamine because we feel like we have achieved something, we've won. We don't feel like we win when we're scrolling on our phone. We feel like we're losing because we're not making any progress towards our goals. So in the mornings, set up habits that make you feel like you're making progress towards your goals. Then you're waking up and you're starting your morning already feeling like a winner. So habit number 3, have a stretching/activation routine every morning to prepare the body for training. So this can vary, depending if you have afternoon training or before training, but usually before you go to training, you always want to have some sort of activation or stretching routine before you actually hit the pitch and start training. For me in my career, especially in the later part of my career, I often had more morning trainings. So for me, in the morning, it was important to have a stretching and activation routine before I went off the training. So one of the first things I did in the morning was do a stretching activation routine. And you can do this with many resources as well. If you have resistance bands or foam rollers, there's a whole arsenal of different exercises and stretches that you can do to activate your body for the day. So like I said, right here we have, some examples of things you could do with resistance bands. We also have some that you could do without. And see, these are just some visual examples of what you can consider for your routine. All right, but have some sort of stretching or activation routine that fits your needs depending on how your training is scheduled, right? So if you have training in the morning, definitely have a stretching or activation routine in the mornings. Maybe your training's in the afternoon, but you want to hit the gym in the mornings. Well, then still have a stretching and activation routine before you even hit the gym, right? We need to be, as footballers, we need to be athletic as possible. And this is a great habit to build in order to maintain athleticism. And there's many resources you can go with no tools, like no foam roller or bands, or you can use a foam roller or bands, right? There's a whole list of exercises out there that you can consider and look into. Habit number 4, eat a proper breakfast for optimal nutrition for your day. So instead of eating cereals and sugar, opt for oatmeal, bananas, rice cakes, eggs, things that are actually healthy, right? You don't want to eat junk. You do, however, want to eat clean for optimal performance on the field. First thing you drink every morning should be a glass of water. This is important for optimal performance in training and matches, so build a habit out of hydrating throughout the day, starting in the morning. Again, the concept with a morning routine is to set up our day for success. So if we need to be hydrated throughout the day, then the first thing we need to do in the mornings is hydrate. Right? This one might be a bit controversial, but as intermittent fasting is, again, like morning routines, is a trend. However, I strongly recommend you avoid any and all intermittent fasting. Why? Because you're not an average person, you're an athlete. So for you, nutrition is even more important, right? Because you need more calories, you need more nutrients, right? To have optimal performance higher than the average person would need. Your nutritional needs are different from normal people's. Again, like I said, you need a higher caloric intake along with higher consumption of carbs. Because carbs specifically give us the energy to perform. Obviously, we need higher protein, higher carbs, and overall higher calories in general because we burn so much in training. Because of that, it's very hard to perform optimally and perform at our peak in training or in matches if we're actually fasting. So please understand this: training without fuel will only hurt your performance and potential to development. You have to consume enough food to give you enough energy to train and recover properly, right? Only exceptions to this rule are religious reasons, if you need to genuinely lose weight, or if you're doing a full body detox. If you're not doing any of these 3 things, then you have no business doing intermittent fasting as a footballer. You need nutrition, you need to eat in order to perform optimally on the pitch. Habit number 5, Read books and or study match film. Now, obviously, if you want to be very football specific, study match film, right? If you want to be more general, read a book, right? Either is good. Both are great alternatives to being glued on your phone in the morning. And that's really the point of this fifth habit, is finding alternatives to being on our phones in the morning. So reading, analyzing match film, both are great. So 2 big examples of why analyzing match film in the mornings can be very effective is look at Toni Kroos and Tom Brady. Both are very smart players, and they are athletes whose game IQs were one of their biggest assets on the field. And if we want to grow our game IQs to be like Tom Brady or Toni Kroos, is we have to study film, right? Because what makes these 2 such great athletes? It's this concept right here. Your mind is just as important on the pitch as your body. Thus, you must train it properly, and a great time to train your mind is in the mornings. Athletes, great athletes such as Kroos and Brady, they understand this. That's why they watch as much film as they do to grow their game IQ. And if you want to grow your game IQ, one of the best times to work on it is by watching and analyzing match film in the mornings. So some other good habits to consider: go for a short walk, get sunlight. A reason why you want to get sunlight is that boosts your vitamin D production, which is going to make you feel happier, it's going to make you feel more energized. Do yoga, right? Again, maintaining and growing, building our athleticism. Getting touches on the ball, such as juggling, right? We always want to be on the ball, always want to get touches. If you have 5 minutes in the morning to just do some juggling, do some juggling. Believe me, it helps in the long run. Because there's one element that I don't have written here, but that is the idea that if we improve 1% every day, over time that compounds. So if you have only a short amount of time to, get some touches on the ball and juggle, you just do like 5 minutes of juggling every morning, that's going to compound. Eventually you're going to get better and better and better. Right? Recite affirmations and do visualization exercise. Visualize yourself on the field or pitch, playing the game, right? If you're a goalkeeper, imagine yourself in goal, making the save. If you're a field player, imagine yourself making the beautiful pass or making the beautiful goal, the beautiful assist, and just visualize yourself winning on the pitch. It's a great exercise to do to build up confidence in yourself. So to recap here, while there are many good morning routine videos out there, including one specifically for footballers, there are also many that are too general to serve your specific needs, often being simple VSLs or video sales products to sell you products. The best morning routine is a routine that works well for you and your personal needs and goals, especially as a footballer. You need a routine that caters to you and your football career, not a routine that caters to business or content creation or this and that. No, you need a morning routine optimized for football. A good morning routine is nothing more than a series of good habits that set you up for success in the day. And that's really what a morning routine is. All these people have, try perfect morning routine. Everyone needs to do it. But truth is, it becomes such a trend where people have forgotten what the point or what a morning routine even is, right? Like I said, it's just a series of good habits that you do in the morning to set you up for success in your day and make you feel good. And then the last point here, some of these habits include healthy breakfast, hydrating with water, avoiding your phone when you get out of bed, replace phone time with productive activities such as reading and studying match film, going for a walk, getting sunlight, and many, many more. Because at the end of the day, the best morning routine is the series of good habits that you feel are going to set you up for success during your day. That's going to optimize you for your day so you can be your most productive self and make progression in your football career. Yeah, so that's it. Like I said, many morning routine videos out there, including this one. But truth is, like I said, a lot of them are VSLs, and I'm not trying to give you guys the ultimate morning routine that's going to make you sign pro. I'm not giving you any big dream like some of these other videos and gurus and influencers out here are trying to give you. I'm not trying to sell you any products. Look, the simple truth is, a morning routine is a series of good habits that makes you feel good and sets you up for your day. That's all. And whatever those habits look like to you are the habits that you should adopt for you and your football career. Because as footballers, mornings are important, and we need good habits, not only in the morning, but throughout the whole day. But it starts in the morning, and that is why we footballers need a morning routine that fits us and not a morning routine that someone else adopts and pushes to the general audience. The best morning routine is what is the routine that you feel is best for you.